I think I was more a vibe-based, and I still am a
Personality
vibe-based
acts
comedian.
as a kid. The rest of the family are competing to be who's the funniest, and
Exactly.
your mum and a goat are just staring back at you.
Not like, oh, this would be a funny wording. I'm just like, what if I did like this? And then...
You do like Jim Carrey stuff. Appreciate that your new bit is not a bit, it's a tweet. And you cannot say that out loud tonight.
I think there's something about ScotRail. They don't know how much... Hi, I'm Kate Hammer. I'm here with the Glasgow International Comedy Festival with my very good friend...
Stuart McPherson.
Stuart McPherson.
How's it going, Kate?
It's good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah. How have you been? We did loads of gigs together in a short
We're on
space
the
of time.
Gilded Balloon Tour.
The Big Fab comedy tour. And then I've not seen you since.
Good.
Not for any malicious reason.
I purposely,
just,
I've like avoided some gigs because you were there.
5 in a week is a lot.
Do you know what? What was the best gig there for you?
Probably the... Oh, Inverness was great.
That was. What was the worst one?
the other 4? Joint?
No.
No, I'm only joking. Edinburgh was a bit of a calm down for me.
Or was it Aberdeen? I feel like Aberdeen really hated...
What you were putting out there?
They made me work. Me and Helen both came off stage like with a bit of sweat, being like, I earned those laughs. I really worked for my paycheck.
Feels good when you earn it though, right?
I would love to not. I would love to just be like, anything I say is met with rapturous applause. People complain about that, not me.
Yeah, not me either, to be fair. There's nothing better than an absolute tap-in of a gig.
Oh my God.
When you do new stuff and you know it's not very good, but
You're
they
like,
love it.
These aren't jokes, these are sentences, but they're landing.
Yeah. And you know that they're lying to you, so the next time you're going to embarrass yourself.
Unless the good times never end, which, as you know, in comedy is a linear line of success upwards, and there's no downs or hard parts.
Or plateau is even just...
No, not for me.
Just endless success. How does that feel?
I just start crying. No, I'm fine.
Well, how long have you been doing stand-up?
Do you know, this question is a frustrating one because...
No one's honest about this, for starters. Everyone takes years off.
Ooh, I feel like I'm honest, but how many gigs per year is such a different scale? Like, I remember there's someone in Montreal who was like, I've been doing comedy for 2 years, and I've done 250 gigs. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I've been doing comedy for 2 years, and I've maybe done 10. Because I was more improv, sketch, and theater. So stand-up was just like, whenever I was asked, which was maybe like every other month, I would just do a couple a year. It was not
a gun for hire.
And then when I was like, you know what, stand-up is going to be my thing. I'm really going to dedicate. I'm going to get the gigs I want. COVID hit, which I think should have been a sign from the universe being like, no one wants this. So then 2 years completely off, because in that time I moved to Glasgow.
Yeah. So hold on, you'd only done about 15 gigs before?
Probably, yeah, I think so. But I have the confidence.
You were good quick then.
Of improv.
Yeah.
So it's like cheating. I feel like
you got North American confidence.
Yeah, Canadian confidence.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit better. Yeah. And then 2 years here of nothing, and then I started gigging here. So I would say like maybe 5 years, like 4 or 5 years. But again, the number of gigs per year, I find it like hard to weigh.
Not all calories are the same.
Exactly.
There's nutritional value in some gigs.
Yeah, people are eating Fruit Loops. I'm over here with All Brand. Is that a brand here?
If it is, I don't eat it, but I could believe it. Alpen?
It's in the name, All Brand.
It's All Brand.
All Brand all the time.
All Brand, baby.
How long have you been doing it for? You just started?
Yeah, I've done 10 gigs.
You're really good for that.
Yeah, I wasn't as good when I actually had started, which would have been... I started about 3 days before Christmas 2014. So coming up 10 years.
So you know exactly...
Only because it was at Christmas.
Right. So someone walked up to me the other day and was like, this is my 200th gig. And I
did count the first 100, I think.
I didn't know that I should have done that.
You shouldn't have. You shouldn't have done that.
Okay.
That's
I didn't.
Weird.
Really?
I think so. I don't know, but when you start, you're like obsessed with it, aren't you? Or I was, at least. Yeah.
I think stand-up to me was like this other mistress that I felt a calling to, but I was like, oh, it just feels like so much. Like my first ever gig in Montreal went well, and that freaked me out because I was like...
I was told this would be hard.
Yeah, no, or I was told everyone's like, you start and you're terrible and you hate yourself, and then you work forward and you work your way up. And
I used to say that to people now.
Yeah, be like, you should hate yourself.
Yeah.
And it went well. And then the second gig, because I got already too much confidence, went like less good. So there, I was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. But like, even in that space, people were like, oh, well, do you do comedy in French as well? No? Then you're never going to make it. It just felt like the worst. Going from improv where everyone was like, I got your back. Let's all laugh on stage together. We cannot fail. And like to stand up where people were like actively trying to get you to quit because they felt like there weren't
Stay in your lane.
at the table.
Yeah. I was trying to think of what yes and is in French there. That would have been a funny joke, but I couldn't. I don't have enough French to...
Oui. Come on, you can do this.
And avec is with.
Yeah.
What
So not that.
Okay. It's closer, right?
A.
Oui, eh. That
Oui,
sounds like five
eh.
chat though.
It's
Oui, eh sounds like something I would have grown up saying.
A small yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm learning.
Yeah. This is breaking down barriers.
Brain.
So, okay, when did you first know you were funny?
I think some people still don't think I'm funny. So
Well, sure.
Yeah.
But when did you know?
When did I know? I still question it. You think after like if you're getting to a place of feeling like, oh, I'm actually doing this comedy thing. I would not have to walk off stage and ask someone immediately, like, was that okay? Did you like that? Do you think people like that? Do you think they liked me? Like, I'm still quite a needy bitch.
It's horrible that, well, I'm a needy bitch too. You know that you don't get an honest answer as well if you do ask someone.
I know. It's like asking someone how old they think you are. And if they say younger, you're like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
you're
best case scenario was they get it right.
No.
But even that's not satisfying.
Even that's not, it's not great. It's a no-win scenario for as soon as you hit 30 and over.
Yeah, but you must, like, when you're a kid, do you have any, like, memories of, like...
Oh, yeah, being funny. I think there's this home video of me...
Just killing it.
I actually did have a mic, like a toy mic.
Nice.
And I was, like, singing to camera, and then clearly someone off screen, like, enters the house. And I immediately just turn to them and I go, yeah, but then, and I'm like
this
singing to them.
This is honestly like something you would do on
stage
exactly. Right now.
It is that I was like, just owning it with this toy mic. And I remember seeing that and being like, yeah, that's...
She's got something.
She's got
this kid.
I'm going to make her infamous. Yeah. I think it was always in my family of like, we were on a goat farm in the middle of nowhere. We needed to have something to do.
And that was...
And it was a competition of like who could be the funniest and who could make each other laugh. And so that's why I need to win at a gig. I need to be the best.
Really?
No. Yeah. It's so nice seeing someone else like kill it. And everyone, as long as everyone kills it. It's hard when everyone kills it and then you don't. You go, well, that is a me thing then.
That was literally my fault. There's no way around it.
Exactly.
There's too much information.
Or I wasn't the right comedian for this gig. Like it was a different vibe. How about you? When did you know you were funny?
I don't think I was like kicking about being like, God, I'm funny. But I was funny as a kid, but then all kids are funny, they're not, that's cheating.
But I was going to say, like, funny, haha, were you like coming up with like, jokes, lines?
Yeah, I was actually. I was like making my family laugh a lot.
I think I was more a vibe-based, and I still am a vibe-based comedian.
As a kid.
Where I'm not like, oh, this would be a funny wording. I'm just like, what if I did like this? And then...
You do like Jim Carrey stuff?
Yeah. I love Jim Carrey.
I watched Yes Man yesterday for the first time on a plane.
That's
for the first time, full
ideal,
stop, and it was on a plane.
The ideal first viewing is on a plane.
It felt that way for some reason.
Yeah.
I would never watch it on land.
Not while still.
No,
God forbid you watch Jim Carrey while not moving.
I better be over Kuwait as this is on. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you were funny when you were a kid.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess.
Did it get you like dates and stuff? Is it were you?
I'm thinking about being like 4 years old and stuff.
Okay, so
later,
you didn't date when you were 4.
I was not in the dating game at that age, as far as I recall.
Right.
But I was like a hit with the grannies. Not dating, like laughs.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Like my granny would take me to like Stuart's the Baker's, a bakery.
Yeah.
And there was just all old wifeys there, and they couldn't get enough of me. They loved it.
I think that like touches on the feeling of knowing you're
I'm
entertaining.
Killing it, yeah, like this feels good.
A social setting, and that was like, because I still don't. It's not like the high. It's about like connecting with everyone, where you kind of walk into the room and you know they need me to be the entertainer. And I am so ready for this. And you're just like, and you just see your grandma there like, fuck yeah, that's my boy.
Grandson, yeah. These 85-year-old ladies from Fife have never laughed this much in a bakery before now.
Did you do topical stuff?
Yeah, it was like, have I got news for you? That kind of stuff. No, I can't remember what it was, but I just remember like in my family they still talk about that now. Where it's like, she would, all those stories of just like, he's a smart Alec, that kind of stuff. He's always got something to say. But,
But the danger is that a lot of people who do think they're funny to their friends, then you can see it when they try stand up, and it's not the same at all. So how do you think that transferred or ended up?
Well, I wasn't like a class clowner. I've always been like this, like it's always been kind of
so life of the party.
It's always been down a rung and kind of more. I don't know, like I wasn't like the class clown, but I would like make my mates laugh,
right?
Rather than being like.
You had to be in your inner circle if you wanted the good stuff.
Yeah,
First jokes for free.
It was a bit more niche than
class
clown, But you do see that, don't you? Like it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I feel. But
you seem like quite a big personality. Like I could believe that you were a class clown.
I don't think I was the class clown because I have a big fear of authority. You can hear my voice. So it's not. I was a really good student, but I did again. It was like loving. It's never a thought to be like, oh, I should be loud now. It's just like it's that instinct, right? To like, it's not like I try to be an energetic comedian. There's never the thought like, oh, move around more or be bigger. It's like that's it's just natural. And I think if I tried to be a deadpan comedian, it wouldn't work because the audience would go, nah, this isn't.
Yeah,
this is so I'm watching like a horse try to walk on two legs. It's not right, And I think that's what I am, a horse on two legs. But what did you even want to be when you grew up? If you were that funny as a kid.
I don't care for the end of that. If you were so funny, how come you...
Yeah, if you were so funny. Did you always know it was like comedy an actual job that you could have?
No, I did not think that at all. I loved comedy from a very young age and would watch loads of comedy and stuff, but I never considered it a career path. When I was very young, I wanted to be a policeman.
Oh.
For some reason.
When did that stop?
Probably when I was 6. I grew out of that.
And then what did you move to?
I think it was like a lot of the classics. Footballer. I played golf growing up. I wanted to be a golfer. Okay. Spider-Man. I really wanted to be.
After
policeman.
A golfer.
Well, the golf wasn't working out so well, so I thought pivot to Spider-Man. Now that seems easier.
Yeah.
What did you want to be?
Well, like every good queer girl, I wanted to be a marine biologist, and then like a photographer, a dentist. I got really into teeth for a while.
What age are we talking now? Because I need a dentist. 7
to 9.
That's deeply odd.
I once gave my teacher a test about teeth.
That's so weird.
She freaking failed.
What was on this test?
She was a French teacher, so I don't know, multiple choice about teeth because we had encyclopedias at home. Anyway, this is before we knew I was a bit different, and she was like, it was more just like, what a quirky little kid. She likes teeth.
She's not wrong.
Yeah, and then I never thought performing could be a thing. I remember I was in a musical in elementary school, and afterwards someone's like, you should be an actor. And I was like, what do you mean? Like I was such a little peasant boy being like, what do you mean? Just like what you just did. People do that for their living. And I was like, that's crazy because that's so much fun. So, but it was still like living on a farm. It never felt accessible. I couldn't like try things out or be a part of anything. So my parents, and being like poor farmers, you were always thinking like, oh, you're good at acting, so you should go into sales. Or you're good at this, so you should be a public relations. Like it was like
it can't just be the thing. It's got to be like a creative offshoot of a normal job.
So I felt like it was actually a lot of unlearning to get to the point where I felt like, oh, I can try and commit to doing this thing without feeling embarrassed by it. Because it just felt like if I have these skills and I'm good at math, I could be these other things that make money. Yeah. And I could just be the funny guy in the office, which I think I would kill.
You'd be a great funny guy.
Yeah, but I think I would also want to die.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to stop that. You
don't like to see the fun guy at the office lose the fire behind his eyes.
Or I'd be like, everyone would be like, oh, Kate, and then I'd close the door to my office and I'd just like put my head against the door for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that was always hard to like come to terms with being like, but I know I want to do this other thing. But in Canada, being a comedian really isn't that possible. Like name your top 3 favorite Canadian comedians.
Well, they don't
live in the UK
based.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't really travel. There's Rick Mercer for one. He's great, but no one outside of Canada has heard of him. So yeah, it took a lot of kind of like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to move to the UK for screenwriting, and I'm going to give comedy a go at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny saying the thing about, you know, getting a job that's like that but not as risky.
Yeah.
Because I remember my mum, and she like has come from such a place of love and security. But I remember like her giving me a lift back from a gig when I was like quite new. She was like, maybe you could like write about comedy, like you could like review.
You could be a
You're
critic.
like, what are you talking? I'm a comedian, man. Like, I'm not going to be like, you can't be a cop and a robber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's mad. What are you on about?
I do see
And
those
also,
things.
what do you think they get paid? Like, I'm not sitting like thinking, God, I got to chuck it and get a real job. I'm gonna work for fucking Chortle or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I'm fantasizing about. You know?
Do you know what? You reminded me that in grade 6 we had to do like a careers test, like an aptitude test, and it kept coming back. Number 1 was to be a critic.
Really?
And I hated that so
Because you're
much.
such a hater.
Well, I was just like, my job is to make people feel bad, and I took it so many times and had to change my answer, so I ended up with anything else because you had to like do a write up about it, and I was like, I'm not being somebody who judges other people for a living. I'll do that for fun, you know.
Yeah, you can just have a Twitter account and have a normal job.
No, everyone's off Twitter now. It's Blue Sky.
I've joined Blue Sky.
I've not.
I've got over 50 followers.
I don't think really.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're viral.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to put my thoughts in.
No, I'm starting to think now that I could do with less thoughts from
Yeah.
everyone, including myself. I say that as someone who has 3 different podcasts. I wish everyone would shut up. Myself
Save some
first.
pods for the rest of us. Jesus Christ.
Kate, you do acting as well as stand-up. How do you find, you know, like, how do you compare them?
How to compare them? That's a great question, Stuart. Did you think of that yourself?
I did, actually.
Shit, man.
I'm glad you like it.
Hot. I actually haven't done acting in a little bit, or like other than in my own sketches and my own stuff. So I do.
In my own mind, I think.
Yeah. I do miss it. I miss because I find it really fun to without going full actor because I didn't go to acting school.
Never go full
Never
acting.
go full actor, but I mean, I respect the craft, but I will not. I will walk around it. Thank you, because it's just like I have a lot of emotions, so I can do that thing, but I don't know. When you hear actors talk about everything they do,
Crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely mad.
I'm just like that. God, that sounds.
You're just pretending, lad. What are you on
You know
about?
what you do? Just be the other person real quick.
And Daniel
because-
Day-Lewis, if you're watching, you don't need to be a cobbler for 8 years. Come on, man.
I feel like the stand-ups are probably all psychopaths, so we can just jump into being other people quite easily.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Did
don't
you
know.
just realize that you might be a psychopath?
No, I have a similar short shrift for actors, to be honest.
Yeah.
As much as... Well, the problem is I've got a kind of like a stand-up perspective of
So would you consider yourself an actor first or a stand-up first?
Oh, stand-up.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm barely an actor in any sense.
A stand-up first or a podcaster first?
Stand-up.
Okay, a
Great
stand-up
game, by
first
the way.
or a boyfriend first?
Stand-up. I'm a much better comedian than I'm a boyfriend.
Okay, a stand-up. Usually it switches a bit more.
Well, I've got I've done hours of stuff. I've got awards and
stand-up
stuff.
first
I'm just
or
leaving dishes places as a boyfriend.
Or a pet owner first.
Well, I'm only a stepdad to the dog, so stand up.
Okay. That when that dog sees this clip, it's gonna be so sad.
Well, that's just something we're gonna have to live. She's not gonna watch this. She watches 15 hours anxiety reducing music for dogs on
Okay,
YouTube.
stand up first or a son?
Son, that's me asking. Is that what you said? A son or a stand up? I'd say I'm a better stand up than a son.
Okay.
But
Well,
I'm a son first. I wasn't doing gigs in the whim.
stand up is clearly your thing. But
Well,
you're
I
also
think-
a script editor.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, that's a better. I'm closer to being a script editor and all that kind of stuff than dog owner / boyfriend / son / actor's probably bottom of that list. I'd say.
Okay, but so can we go here? You're dating another comedian.
Yeah.
What was that like?
What was that like? Have you heard
How
something?
is it? How is
She go- she
meeting
going?
another comedian? Because I feel like I like try and avoid any comedian.
No, you're right to do that. It is a minefield, but it's not. It's it's a blessing and a curse, I suppose. You speak about work a lot more than you probably would if I worked in sales and she worked in marketing.
It must
or
be
whatever.
nice that you can probably like pitch jokes to each other. That
Yeah, but also it's like there's no escape from it if you are both disillusioned with an aspect of the
Yeah.
industry or whatever. That's
Right.
going to come up in conversation a lot. Even if you're like in the jungle in Vietnam last week. Still going to be chatting about like
Really
comedians and car drives and stuff. But no, it's great. It's nice because you're very like-minded and you sort of understand. It's a weird thing to do for a job, so it's nice to have someone that gets
weird
it.
schedule too.
Yeah, well, tell that to the dog because we're both gigging tonight and it's a problem.
Is the dog not allowed to be alone at all?
No, she's fine. She's fine, but we just wouldn't choose it.
Yeah.
You know, she's in Aberdeen tonight. My girlfriend, not the dog. Dog's in the house. What was the question? Going out with a comedian. Yeah, it's just like, just two normal people, I suppose. But it's nice to have a level of understanding, I suppose.
Did you meet at a gig?
Yeah, she came to see my friend's show because her agent at the time was trying to sign me. Okay. And she always says that I didn't show her any attention whatsoever. And I say, you're goddamn right, because I was interested in your agent.
So then how did
I think she thought I was playing it cool, but I genuinely couldn't care less because at the time that wasn't important to me.
Right.
And then I didn't see her for a year, and then we did a preview at the Bungo in the South Side together, and now we live around the corner, which is crazy.
That's quite sweet. How did you get the work in progress together?
Well, we followed each other online, and she was like, other comedians hit me up to do joint previews, and I went, if you're in Scotland, do one here.
Pretty smooth.
That's how they get you.
That's pretty smooth. Would you like to do a work in
progress? Would you like to go to work with me?
And then in
another year and 2 months, go out with me.
Yeah. Oh, a year after the work in progress.
Yeah, it's been a slow burn.
Wow, that's good though, right? He's single.
You never gone out with another
comedian? I've gone out with like actors and writers, but not comedians.
And how do they differ?
The actors were all quite jealous. It was just weird. Like even if I was dating a man and I got a role, it'd be like, ugh. And you're like, but you couldn't have gotten that role. Like they're different. Yeah. This isn't for you. It's a female part. But yeah, I felt like, I don't know. It's tricky. I think also a lot of actors put pressure on themselves to be writers or comedian. Like but they're an actor first. And I think that's why it puts everything in it comes from a different angle. I don't know. It's worse. I don't know. No. Do you have like set times for writing jokes?
No. Do you?
No. Next. No. But so how do you go about it?
Generally, I just live my life and thoughts come to me.
Right.
And I have to immediately make a note in my phone or I'll forget it.
And are they in your voice or like someone else is speaking to you?
They're in Peter Kay's comedic voice and then I rewrite them to sound like me. No, for the most part, I always shame myself for not working hard enough, for not writing. And I go through bouts of trying to do that. But generally, I'm just living my life. Thoughts come to me. I think there's something in that. And then you think about it a little bit more, and then you do it in your material night, and then you find out it's not funny. And then you leave it in your notebook, and then 7 years later, you need to start a new show after the Fringe, and you're really scraping the barrel. So you look through old notebooks from 7 years ago, and you think there's something in that puffin bit.
In there.
And then you have to make it work.
Have you ever really tried to make a bit work and it just doesn't?
Yeah.
What was it about?
Also, there's every year because we were chatting, because you've not done a full Fringe show yet.
No.
But something I find, which I've been pleased to hear other, peers say this as well, but every year there's like September bits I have where like I'll do the Fringe in August and you build your year around that.
Yeah.
And then you just need stabilizers on if you do early work in progress shows for the next one. Because in clubs you'll do the old stuff, but when you do a work in progress, there's like bits that I do every year between September and March, sometimes way up to like July, and then they just never make it into any show, and I just think of them as like B-sides that never make it.
Because it's odd, because you're like, if I find it funny, someone else has to. But maybe...
And also, they actually kind of work enough. Otherwise, I would just not do them. But like they do work, but I can never find a place for them, or they never like sing,
I find that sometimes I'm like, the idea works, but there's not a punchline. There's not like an ending that hits well enough for it to feel like a good ending to it.
Yeah.
And usually you can like experiment, but some of them you're just like, I don't know. It's just a good idea that needs to go nowhere. And that's when I start building in like callbacks as punchlines, but then it's a dangerous
That's
game.
when you know you're struggling in it. When
or like I love it. I love
build it the wrong way around.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. I don't mind that. It's more like then you become unless you set it up, then you can't do that joke because you don't even
the whole
ending.
thing is built on sand if you do it in a club set and you've not done the first bit.
Yes.
I'm terrible for that.
I've done only once did I go pause. I forgot to do a bit, and then I was like, "We're going back in time." And I think because I'm like stupid enough, people are like, "All right, let's go back in time," and I'm like, "Now we're back present." You barely remember this other bit that I did, and then still try and make it work.
I have done that multiple times.
Yeah.
It's a horrible feeling when you're at the beginning-ish of a kind of longer routine, and you realize you've missed out something that is pivotal.
Crucial.
Yeah. And then you're saying the words, but in your head you're like, how the fuck can I sort of
But
segue
callbacks
that
are
in?
so satisfying. And I think it's like it makes the audience feel clever. It makes me feel like, not as a comedian, but like when I'm watching other comedians and it feels like the callback is like woven in, I like that. I don't think it's like a bad thing. Though it can feel like a bit of a crutch for sure.
Sometimes, yeah. I am guilty
But crutches are good. They help people walk.
They help you walk. That's what people never mention about crutches.
Crutches have such a negative connotation, and that ends now.
So how do you come up?
Yeah, me too. I wish I had any sort of schedule or like any brain that could, or life that could let me have a schedule at all. But it usually comes to like, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I need new stuff because I'm kind of sick of doing, or I've been doing this other thing for too long. And I need to get some new thoughts. Or I try and brain dump everything I've kind of been thinking about, or that's bugged me, or that stories I've remembered.
What does this look like? Is it you mind mapping and stuff, or is it?
No, I just have a comedy notebook and I just write. And so I need to go back through my old, because I finished one like a month ago. I need to go back through it and go like, what are all the half thoughts that I never even remembered or finished or whatever, and go back and see like, can that be something?
Yeah.
And like recently. Yeah, there's like 10 new bits that I'm working on, but they're so loose. I need to sit down and like explore them more. I don't have a process as much as like I like having either on stage and I like improvise, or I have my friend that I then like have a conversation and improvise and find the thing, because there's something about like acting it out and feeling.
Yeah. So you talk differently to how you write, right?
Totally, but it's both. I probably should do more like mind mapping, or I know the like listing and then try and compare. But
I don't do that enough. Either.
I know it
feels like work, doesn't it?
It's like knowing I know how to eat well, but I would prefer to eat chips and cheese.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's how I feel about writing jokes.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And do you not find like on the day, or at least like in the run up to a gig, that's when I'm really like, if I've got a Tuesday night Edinburgh new material gig, that train journey, it's not about the gig for me, it's like the train
journey is essential.
Yeah.
When people offer me rides, I'm like,
absolutely
no thank you, I need that time.
I'm not interested in listening to your Spotify in the car, because this is my working hour, this 53-minute train.
It's just like I would love to talk to you, but that's the only time of the day I have to go over my stuff and write under pressure.
Sometimes you need to be on the ScotRail service to appreciate that your new bit is not a bit, it's a tweet. And you cannot say that out loud tonight.
I think there's something about ScotRail. They don't know how much they do for comedians.
Yeah, something about just like being at Troy, just does something to me. I don't know.
A Falkirk High. I'm like, yes, get in here.
Then you just write like loads of bits about trains.
Honestly. No, actually, I don't have one single bit about a train. I've got a thing about peeing and pooping.
On a train?
Well, God. But in that, okay, if I am trying to stop peeing, I have to go like this, right? You got to kink the pipe. Right. Okay. Yeah, but if I need to poo and I'm far away from, I need to be as straight as possible. You need to do the opposite. You need to give space.
Poo?
Yeah. To not stand poo.
Up.
To not
poo.
Right. Give it space. Otherwise, but then if you have to pee and poo, you're stuck.
It's
your
like the
body's
ascent
against
of
you
man.
on that one.
But
I'm wondering, how do people with penises not pee? Because do you literally kink it? Do you plug it? Like, do you put a cord like that? Do you do like that?
I know that it's a rhetorical device. That this will be the bit, but I want the answer.
What is the answer?
Well, it's kind of painful, but you would it's the same what I imagine it is for a girl. But it's like, what do they call it? Like a kegel or something?
Kegel.
Yeah, you do one of them.
You just sort of suck it in. But when it gets beyond that, maybe people are better at peeing than I am. And I think this is the problem, is that I find peeing boring, and so I wait till the last minute. And then I run.
I find it boring.
Yeah. I genuinely am like, why would I go pee when I could be doing anything else? And then I started wearing belts recently, and that's caused a whole nother issue because that adds on at least 3 seconds to the pissing experience that I have not accounted for. And there have been some close calls. I'm 32 years old. Okay. Who are the people that inspire you in comedy?
In comedy. Important caveat at the end there before I said Nelson Mandela.
He's a pretty funny,
Pretty funny.
Or was.
Yeah. Don't want to break that today. Well, do you not find, like, I just find I'm inspired by, like, everything at all times. Do you find that, or is that you, for example? Yeah.
No, stop it.
But, like,
what about me inspires you?
Just your vigor, your zest for life and performing. Which, when we go on after each other, it's a very different vibe. When I turn up, and it's annoying going on after you because it's like there's been a party and then I've had to like clear up the.
You're like, all right, it's time for everyone to go.
I'm sweeping up party poppers. Well, obviously, there's loads of stand-ups that I just love, and it tends to be people that I watched. Well, obviously, like at the very beginning, people before I did comedy inspired me, like Peter Kay's DVD. I used to watch when I was a kid a lot. And then when you get into it a bit more, and when I watched, you watch more and more comedy, and you have a broader range of influences. But now it's like it's still all those ones that when I was starting comedy, I loved. I think, but then all your peers and stuff. I think as well. Should I just name people I like?
No, I think that would make for bad content.
Yeah.
I think.
What about you?
Same. I loved watching again. It was like the one thing that brought the whole family together in our like age groups was watching stand up or any kind of comedy.
Yeah, my mom and dad love comedy as well. So
my mom doesn't. She doesn't get it. And I think that's inspiring to me.
Yeah, because you and the rest of the family are competing to be who's the funniest, and your mum and a goat are just staring back at you.
It's tough gig. I cannot fail in an audience because I've already pitched a joke to my mom and been met with like, I remember I was like watching a video and when I was like in high school and she walked by and she just went, I don't even get it, and walked away, and I was like, all right, this one's one tough cookie to crack. But
I think it's weird when if it's not like they've said this to me, but there's an attitude in comedy because it's subjective that like well, I didn't get it. And you're like, yeah, so what? It doesn't like you've not like outwitted the performer because you didn't get it. Like,
Nish Kumar has a really good bit about being like comedy's the only job that you can say you're not doing. Like even if you build a really bad wall, it's a wall. Maybe you're a bad builder, but it's still a wall.
No one's going and sending you builder in quotation marks.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, that wasn't comedy. And it's like, well, it was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for you, but it was still comedy. So that's like, it is tricky because you're like, is that just not my audience, or was it me and my jokes about puffins that I will fucking make land,
There isn't a puffin bit, but I'm starting to think there's something
There's something there for sure. I think, it's your peers. I think it's like my closest friends, like when we're together in a group just riffing, and those are the times I laugh the hardest is when you're just kind of like organically making a character, and it becomes so weird. It's like, that's the most I'll ever laugh. I just finished a clown course, and this relates, I promise. and I didn't go to the like end drinks because I had something to do last night. But they messaged this morning being like, we all talked about how we wondered if Kate laughed at all. And I was like, oh my God, was that my legacy? Apparently I was just in the corner like, God damn it.
The apple didn't fall far from the tree.
I know it. Honestly, I'm terrified of that. But
I just want to say, even though I know, like, I understand, like, Gaulier and clown college and, like, posh people that go off to clown, all that, not I'm saying you're posh, but, all that kind of stuff. Even though I know all of that, when you say a bunch of clowns going for a drink, I'm picturing huge, the biggest shoes you've ever seen, squirty flower.
They all come out in one little tiny Volkswagen. Yeah, not posh clown. This was taught in a basement for 6 weeks, once a week. But yeah, and I was like, I am a tough laugh because I spend so much time like in comedy clubs, and I spend my days developing comedy and so it is like you're watching so intently and you're listening, but it's really rare for me to laugh because I'm usually being like, oh, and you can call back that, or you should do this, or this would make, you're like thinking about it, which is I guess just how my brain always works. But that's when I become most inspired is when someone kind of gets me out of that and surprises me.
Yeah.
And they walk on, they own the stage, and then I'm being like, this is so silly and wild that like that's when I'm like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same. When you watch something and you're not analysing it, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Because usually, like the most annoying thing, like it's a cliche almost, but like if the comedian's at the back of the room and they're watching and there's a great joke, like no one's laughing, everyone's going,
yeah, exactly.
I wish I'd have thought. That was there the whole time. I could have, do you know what I mean?
I
thought that, but then I didn't.
Or you have a similar joke and you go, well, that one's better, so now I can't use my mediocre joke. God damn it, I could have been great. The puffin bit is gonna work, I swear to God.
But it's why I like watching acts like yourself, because you're so different to what I do that like it would kind of be crazy if we had similar bits.
And they would probably, even if no matter how similar they are, it's like you can both do them because they work in such different ways. The last person I'll say that inspires me was my grandma Lindner, and she's dead, which is hilarious. But she's just the sassiest lady my whole life, and like she's the one who I think I talked about in my last show where she if she would always cheat at cards, and if anyone called her out on it, I called her out on it once, and she was like, Kate, you have a face only a mother could love. And I was like, and she's like, and it'd have to be dark. And you're like, what? 2 punchlines for one joke? And it's just like, she was just a farmer's wife. And like, but she was just so quick and on it and dark and hilarious that I was, she's, just someone who could always get what I was going for, I guess.
That's cool.
She would wee-a.
Yeah. Good. Do you ever find like her voice distilled into your, like, have you ever?
Well, she wasn't that funny, but
you'd have to punch it up a bit.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that outlook of finding funny in everything is something that I don't get. Like when there are like comedians who are so funny on stage but so serious off stage, it freaks me out.
It is weird, isn't it?
Because I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I just want to play all the time. Which is probably why a lot of people find me a lot.
Also annoying in its own way, but I'm not saying that about you. But
no, I think I know
when you get someone that's always on.
Yeah, but there is
like trying
that,
bits all the time.
Well, you're not even trying. It's not about. I'm not trying bits. The bits take over. I'm like just
you're
a
vehicle
conduit.
for the bits. Yeah.
You're just like, oh God, I need to say this. I think it's more. I just don't know. That's the way I'm like built, is to be like, wouldn't this? Can I make this fun? And again, it's not even a thought. It's just like a deep drive within me to be the most annoying person in the room. And then hopefully there's other annoying people, and then we become not annoying anymore because we're just friends.
I do relate to that, to be fair. What are you up to at the minute, Kate? What projects have you got in the pipeline? And I thought of that question myself.
You're so good. I do have a Glasgow Comedy Festival show called Government Approved Comedian, because I am now on my 5-year global talent visa for comedy.
Yeah,
which means I have to do comedy legally to stay in the country.
Is that right?
It's some sort of Jester scenario, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that, isn't it? Because you'd think they'd want you to have like a steady income that's like, no, you must be a clown.
I must make money off comedy.
Right.
Otherwise, Keir Starmer has to come up and I do a roast battle. And if he wins, I'm out of here. It's real dangerous territory. But yeah, other than that, I was working for EastEnders, and now I work for River City during the day.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
What do you want to ask?
Where'd you get your crazy ideas from? No, how did you, because we both also do kind of script writing, script editing, that kind of stuff, which not every comedian does. So we're, you can take the credit for
that.
Actually,
it's crazy. You have you have longer hair than me, so you'll be better at the...
And I came from the barbers to here.
Did you?
Yeah.
Looks great.
Thank you. Was it always the plan to do scripted stuff?
I've planned so little in my life, and I cannot stress that enough. But so I think the move to the UK was for both, but it was technically for screenwriting because that was the master's in screen and TV writing. Because I distilled everything I was doing, the like theater and the improv and the comedy and creative writing degree that I chose to do. And I was like, I want to do TV. I want to be in TV rooms. That's where all of these skills can kind of come together.
Yeah, I'd like that as well.
So,
do you ever fantasize about being on like a, like an American sitcom, 23 episodes, everyone's in the room?
oh God, I mean,
That's
the
what I
days of
think about.
Scrubs would have been like incredible. And like, it's, yeah, some beautiful TV. And hopefully the TV industry will make some more money so that we can make a TV. Because it's been in such dire straits for the past couple of years. But you do radio as well.
I do radio. I direct a radio show on BBC Scotland, which is fun. It's great. It's just like, it's like anything. It's fun to collaborate with other people. When you do stand-up, obviously it's very individual, so it's nice to just, I don't know, just like churn work out. It's like doing SNL or something, because you've got to do it in like 3 days, and very satisfying beginning and ending it every week, and just working on shining things up and making things as good as they can be, and then letting it go.
Does it go in seasons, or does it? Okay.
So we've done like 4 series or something like that. But it's just really nice to like, and you learn a lot. I think there's a lot of crossover of like, I'm always every year I'm trying to apply it to my own jokes and my own shows of like,
right.
When I write a sketch for the radio or when I fix someone else's sketch, it's got to be like one idea and then you pay it off. So when I'm doing stand-up, when I'm standing there, why do I never remember that it should have a good punchline and stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to constantly remind yourself. Yeah.
The promise of the premise. You gotta pay off the promise, yeah.
Yeah, like the premise is good enough. I don't need to. It's uncouth to have a punchline, isn't it?
Oh, god damn, that premise looks good. This is like a comedian looking at a joke that'll never work. But like the eyes just go, ooh, but look at that goddamn premise.
It's almost a shame to have a punchline on something.
It would ruin it, yeah. No, I would love to, actually for my visa, it's almost imperative I do some more radio. So
right.
we can talk
right, yeah, we'll
more about this.
Have a chat after this.
Yeah.
Because for you for the script writing, did you studied it?
So I did a master's, yeah,
Where
at Glasgow Caledonian.
That's one of the, do you know what? There's 2 times in my life I've written like an application to something and then I've been like too scared to even send it for some reason. I was quite shy, and one of them was that I applied to do that like when I was in my early to mid 20s or something. And then the other one was for the Comedy Unit, which is who I work for now.
Yeah. So you did eventually send that one.
No, I never sent it. I just ended up getting the job through being a comedian and then an actor, and then I was, like all the way, around the way. It
was meant to be.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Even this, like, I did the degree, and then I did a whole bunch of other jobs, and happened to like get this. I think I'm very lucky. I think there's a lot of people who applied and could have done this job equally as well. So I think it just like things just you gotta. It's a numbers game because the amount of applications, like, and I make sure to have on my wall like a rejections list that I can check off, and I have a goal of how many rejections I get every year. Because otherwise you get too afraid and you're like, it's got to be perfect. I can only send this off when it's perfect. And you're like, no. Is it or just do it. And you'll get better at making those applications the more you write them. But also it's draining. So I don't know. You got to balance it out. And
with the script writing, is it like, do you...
Thank God you're here. Otherwise I would just keep talking about rejections for no reason.
Piss and shit. Like, do you have an idea in your mind of like you want to do a film or a sitcom or a drama or is it just...
Oh, baby, I'm multi-platformable. Yeah, I just finished a film. I was part of the Torino Film Lab, so I have some film pitches, but I also have like some TV pitches in.
Are you good at actually writing them? Because I'm the same. I have ideas for films and sitcoms and stuff, but actually coming down to really nail them down is quite hard.
Like the pitch or the script?
Well, both, but even just the pitch is hard, I think.
The pitches I find hardest because you have to distill like the ideas down to like, this is what this is about. And you're like, but it's about so many things and this
society.
And that. Well, or like not, you can't be vague, right? It's got to be so specific. Or like, I just listened to like 100 pitches at this film festival. And the amount of people are like, but it's dangerous. Or like, let me ask you a question. And you're like, no, don't ask me. Like because you notice the patterns of how people are pitching. And it's really interesting. But it's like the more specific ones are the ones that stay in your head. But yeah, it's hard because sometimes you have you can see the idea, but when you start writing it feels, you're like, oh, that's not it. And it almost scares you away from writing it. But I feel like I've tried to write down all my ideas. And so now I'm like, there's enough. So if some of them suck, then I'll just make a new one.
Yeah, so when you're in the meeting and they don't go for the first 4, you're like, well, how about that thing I thought about once 8 years ago?
I think that's the beautiful thing about like continuing drama is in that brainstorming room. You're not even like coming with your pitch. You're going, they're like, okay, what about this character? And you're like, da, 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 da. You know, you're just reeling off as much as you can. And it doesn't hurt to say no because you're like, it's just an idea. It's not, you're not saying no to me.
Precious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want what's best for the show. So if you don't like that, I'll come up with something better. Maybe.
It's been really nice to see you, Kate.
It's been so lovely to see you, Stuart.
I can't wait to see you again at the Glasgow International Comedy Festival.
Oh, where will you be and when?
I'll be at Van Winkle, I guess, I don't know, towards the end of March. On a Wednesday, doing a work in progress.
I'm on a Sunday at 7:05, I think.
Wow, that's specific. I think I'm at 7:10 now that you've said that. And I'm also doing a tour show, which I think is part of the Glasgow Comedy Festival as well. I need to double check that, but that's at the stand with my last show.
And I'll just be around. So come talk to me. I'm around Glasgow.
Edinburgh sometimes as well.
Edinburgh sometime. Quite a lot, actually.
I'm going there right now.
Ayr next week.
Why? Back to the Gaiety Theatre, were we?
No. Somewhere much smaller, I'm sure.
Well, good luck in Ayr, Kate.
You know what? This guy moisturizes his hands, I'll tell you that much.
Never worked a day in his life, this guy.
Smooth as a baby's bottom.
Can barely grab onto them.
Perfect, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is that all right? I was just
That
fucking
was
around.
amazing,
All right.
honestly.